This is a magical ring. If you get its approval, you can become Merlin's successor, and then become the most powerful wizard in the world. Balthazar looked at the boy in front of him. This was the chosen one he had waited 1,000 years for. He told the boy not to touch anything here. He was now going to take out the wizard's manual. However, Balthazar had just left when the boy found a doll on the ground. Curious, he picked it up and looked at it. At that moment, a flame swept across the surface of the doll. The boy was so frightened that he threw it to the ground. Immediately after, countless cockroaches began to emerge from inside. In the boy's amazed eyes, the cockroach finally turned into a human figure. He was exactly the same as the design on the doll. His name was Horvath. He was ready to kill the boy. Luckily, Balthazar appeared just in time. He immediately knocked Horvath into the sky. Horvath wasn't going to take it lying down. He immediately fought back. They were both magicians, and their fight was naturally electric. Soon, the entire room was covered in flames. Seeing that Balthazar was temporarily trapped, Horvath turned his head to look at the boy again. However, Balthazar also burst out of the flames at this moment. In order to save the boy, Balthazar sealed himself and Horvath together. The boy was so frightened that he ran out of the room. He panicked and threw the doll out of his hand. At that moment, the boy's teacher also arrived just in time, but when they re-entered the room but found that everything was back to normal, it turns out that in the short time just now, Balthazar and Horvath have been sealed into the container. And so it was 10 years later, the boy has become a college student. His name is Dave. Like many geeks, he was in the same class as Becky, whom he liked, but was afraid to confess his love. At the same time, the 10 years of sealing time have come to an end. Horvath also finally broke the seal. The first thing he did after he came out was to throw the container that sealed him down the stairs. Luckily, Balthazar woke up in time. He managed to escape from the container at the last moment before it was destroyed. The first thing Balthazar did was to look for the little boy. At this time, Horvath also found here. Balthazar is strong enough. By the time Horvath reacted, Balthazar had already taken Dave out of here. Looking at the giant steel eagle in front of him, Dave had to believe in the existence of magic. Next, Balthazar also explains Dave's query. It turns out that 1,000 years ago, Merlin, the god of magicians, had 3 disciples, and Balthazar was one of them. The other 2 were Balthazar's girlfriend, Veronica, and his best friend, Horvath. When Merlin was fighting against the evil mage Morgana, Horvath chose to betray him. He not only helped Morgana to kill his teacher, he also prepared to use an evil spell to summon an army of undead to enslave the humans. Balthazar, who came to stop him, was also defeated. Just as Morgana was about to kill him, Veronica chose to sacrifice herself to save him. She sucked Morgana's soul directly into her body, and Balthazar, in order to imprison Morgana, had to bear the pain of sealing them together in the Horcrux. In the years that followed, evil mages tried to rescue Morgana. Balthazar will defeat them and seal them layer by layer in the doll, and on the outermost layer is Horvath. Merlin had told Balthazar before he died, whoever can wear the dragon's ring, then he is Merlin's successor. To become the only one who can kill Morgana, Balthazar searched many worlds for this. He didn't know how many people he tried, but no one could get the approval of the dragon's ring until the day the little boy arrived. He must have been guided by the gods of magic. The next thing they had to do was to find the soul tool that sealed the evil mage. On the other side, Horvath also came to the original antique store. He used time travel magic to see the doll that sealed Morgana and was picked up by a Chinese grandmother. Based on the clues he saw, he deduced that the older man should be in Chinatown. Soon after, Balthazar also found the place. Little did he know that Horvath had already gotten there first. Just as Balthazar was about to ask for the Horcruxes, a man appeared quietly behind him. It turned out that Horvath had released a sealed evil mage after he found the doll. At that moment, the man also started to act. They shot toward Balthazar as if they were bullets, but Balthazar backhanded the man and sent him flying. However, the man quickly stood up again. Next, he would also use his true power. The man slowly looked at his waist, only to see the dragon totem moving. Then, not far away, the dancing dragon also came to life. It began to grow flesh and blood, and even its legs slowly turned into sharp claws. In Dave's amazed eyes, the dragon roared at him directly. Seeing this, Balthazar immediately blew out confetti. This also temporarily blocked the dragon's view. The mage controls the dragon and chases Dave. Fortunately, Dave found a room to hide, but the dragon kept chasing after him. Now the only way is to defeat the dragon's controller, and under the control of the mage, the dragon had already rushed to the street. Seeing the boy in danger, Balthazar was not going to help. It turns out that the only way to learn magic faster is in a crisis. The dragon was getting closer and closer. Dave started to concentrate too. At the last moment, when the dragon was lunging at him, he finally used the magic. Balthazar started attacking mages at this point. The raging dragon was instantly out of control. With the deformation magic broken, the dragon quickly reverted back to its original form. Horvath saw what was happening here. Looking at the ring in Dave's hand, he knew that the biggest enemy had appeared. After this incident, Dave also became interested in magic. He asks Balthazar to teach him magic. Balthazar told Dave that once a decision is made, there is no turning back. Dave decided to study with Balthazar. He officially became a magical apprentice. Every wizard has a ring of his own. He can convert the energy of the brain into the material world. Under Balthazar's tutelage, Dave began to learn all kinds of magic. Although his whole body was protected, he was still accidentally injured during the training. With Dave's diligent practice, he became more and more proficient at magic. On one occasion when he and Becky were out, he also used magic to subdue the bad guys who robbed him. This also made Becky impressed by him and agreed to go out with him. By the next day, he asked Becky to his lab. In fact, the end of magic is science. As a good science student, he played Becky's favorite song with a Tesla electric circle. This made Becky scream in amazement. The two of them also had a romantic date together. On the other side, Horvath found an evil mage Drake as a helper. He was ready to strike at Dave when he was alone, but Balthazar was protecting Dave. He took Drake by surprise by hitting him first. Facing Horvath, who continued to rush forward, Balthazar started to use his mirror magic again, but the two were evenly matched. They couldn't tell the difference for a while, but Drake hit Horvath and knocked him into the mirror space. Immediately afterwards, he himself was defeated by Balthazar. Knowing that he was in such a dangerous situation, Dave practiced his magic even harder. He not only used magic to control the broom to sweep the floor, but also used magic to wash the dishes. But because Dave was not yet skilled, all the magic eventually went out of control. He was in danger himself. Fortunately, Balthazar arrived in time and dispelled all the magic. In the face of Dave's magic pranks, the two eventually went their separate ways. While Dave was on a date with Becky, Horvath finally found an opportunity this time. Drake impersonated Dave directly and attacked Balthazar. Then he found the Horcrux that sealed Morgana. Seeing that Balthazar was no longer useful, Horvath was ready to kill him. In the nick of time, Dave arrives just in time. He used his magic to knock down the dagger and save the teacher. Horvath then immediately escaped with his assistant, watching Balthazar chasing after him. Horvath then touched the car with his hand. The taxi immediately turned into a supercar. Balthazar saw this and used the same magic, and his car was clearly superior. Seeing that he couldn't get rid of the opponent, Horvath also found a mirror. He then used the magic, and Balthazar was immediately transported to a mirror dimension. Everything here is inverted from reality, and Horvath kept on breaking the mirror. He tried to trap Balthazar inside forever. Fortunately, Balthazar soon found a breakthrough. He saw a mirror hanging in the air and swaying. Balthazar immediately rushed up in his car. The moment the mirror fell, they finally re-entered the real world. But then Horvath has disappeared. On the other hand, after Horvath got the doll that sealed Morgana, he realized that a lot of magic power was needed to unseal it. So he did not hesitate to strike at Drake. He wants to use human life to unlock the last layer of the seal. The evilest mage is sealed in this doll, but unlocking it requires not only great magical power, it also requires Merlin's dragon ring. But then the ring came to the door of its own accord. It turned out that Balthazar and Dave had found Horvath's lair. As they were splitting up, the carpet under Balthazar's feet suddenly unleashed. He was soon caught in the carpet and could not move. On the other side, Dave has successfully found the Horcrux. Just as he was about to leave, Horvath appeared behind him, and he takes Becky hostage. Now Dave has to make a choice, whether to take Becky's life or drop the dragon ring. As Dave prepares to stall for time, Balthazar is also trying to get out of the trap. He used his magic to control the two chains and pulled himself out of the trap. But by the time he got outside, Dave had already handed over the Horcrux and the ring. Balthazar, in a rare move, did not bother to blame Dave. If it were him, he would have made the same choice. Balthazar then immediately summoned the Iron Eagle. Next, he had to stop Horvath. At this point, Dave was not idle either, although he couldn't use magic after losing his ring. But the end of magic is science. Dave soon moved the Tesla electric circle to the car. He has figured out a way to defeat Horvath. Meanwhile, Horvath had gathered all the conditions. He was about to unleash Morgana. As the Horcruxes broke, a large mass of black matter instantly gushed out. They transformed into Balthazar's girlfriend after constant twisting, and inside her was the evil mage, Morgana. Next, she will use the satellite receiver on top of the building to channel and amplify the electromagnetic energy to set up the magic aura. When the time comes, she can summon an army of undead to destroy the world. By the time Balthazar got here, the magic mark was already taking shape. Horvath soon spotted Balthazar hiding in the shadows. With the dragon's ring, his power had increased dramatically. Now Balthazar was no match at all. He was quickly knocked out. Horvath then revived the Iron Bull in the square. Iron Bull ran directly toward Balthazar. Even if he hid behind the car, he could not stop the bull's attack. Soon Balthazar's life was at stake. At this critical moment, Dave finally arrived in time with the Tesla electric circle. Horvath's wand is the best conductor of electricity. The weapon in his hand was instantly knocked away. Before he could react, Balthazar took care of him with a magic. Facing the Iron Bull that continued to charge, he summoned the Steel Eagle. It directly grabbed the Iron Ox into the air. However, the crisis was not lifted now, because the magic aura in the air had been completely formed. Under Morgana's control, countless black smoke began to rise up. They spread rapidly around the world. Black smoke can wake up the dead spirits. Whether it is the Great Wall of China or the Sphinx under the pyramids, they are rapidly awakening under the influence of darkness. Soon the darkness will envelop the earth, and countless undead will return from hell. Fortunately, Dave was prepared for this. He had already asked Becky to destroy the signal tower. With the receiver successfully destroyed, the magic aura that had been formed immediately began to dissipate. Even half of the undead that had been resurrected all turned back into ashes. With the failure of the summoning magic, Morgana also suffered a backlash and fainted. In order to save Veronica, Balthazar sucked Morgana's soul into his own body. He then threw the Horcrux to Dave. This time it will be his turn to seal Morgana, but it's not that simple. As the most powerful evil mage, Balthazar's body could not trap her at all. Morgana quickly escaped her bonds. Dave came out of nowhere just as she was about to kill Balthazar. It turns out that he has awakened powerful magic. Even if he didn't have the ring in his hand, he could still use his magic power. This is the ability that only the Supreme Mage has. While they were all in shock, Morgana launched a sneak attack, watching Balthazar being knocked out to save himself. Dave angrily launched a counterattack. However, although he now had Merlin's magic power, he did not have the corresponding power or skill. Instead of threatening Morgana with his attacks, he was beaten back by Morgana's attacks. However, this was exactly Dave's plan. It turns out that the first attack he just made was to hit the transformer next to him. While Morgana was attacking frantically, Dave was secretly controlling the high-voltage power lines. He connected all the wires to the streetlights. Now he was going to use science to defeat magic. With Dave's command, a mop instantly pulled down the electric switch. The entire city's electricity immediately converged here. Under the tear of the powerful electric current, Morgana instantly lost control of her body. Dave didn't hesitate at all. This time his attacks all hit the target. Morgana was directly beaten into oblivion. This is the end of the magic battle that lasted for 1,000 years. At the end of the film, Balthazar is finally reunited with Veronica. Dave and Becky also live a sweet life. The movie finally tells us, it's not scary to know magic. What's scary is that people who know magic have culture. Well, remember to subscribe to my channel. See you next time.